When something is about to tangibly happen or appear in your reality as something physical or an experience, we don't really have the feeling of longing for it or hoping for it anymore. You feel it as if it's already there. It's like walking through your house in the dark. You take steps knowing the floor is there, but you can't see the floor. You try not to trip over shit, run into shit. You're not quite sure what things look like, where they may be, what you'll run into, but you know it's there. And that's the feeling that you'll have right before something is about to show up. And you may not be quite sure exactly how it looks or exactly where it's going to be, but it's not a question whether it is there. It's a question of where exactly it will be, what exactly it will look like. It's a knowing that it's there, but curious about it. Everything in reality is made by you. And from my perspective, it's made by me, because we're the same thing, which is not a thing, until we wonder what thing we are. What this means is that you're making every person, every accident, every trauma, every good thing, every incident of being screwed over, every betrayal, every shitty crazy thing you see on the news, every death, everything that you consider to be real in your reality. People don't really like to hear this because it's a hard thing to swallow. Generally don't want to say that we are the ones who raped ourselves, who abused ourselves, who hurt another, who hurt our children. When we see someone else we consider to be not us do it. We don't want to take responsibility for what we consider to be all the evil in the world, because that is an unimaginable pain. But when you can come to terms with the idea that you could cause such monstrosities, you also realize how much power you have. You created the galaxies, the stars, and life itself. You also have to come to terms with how irresponsible you've been because of your own ignorance. And also you realize how innocent you are because you were unaware that you were doing it. All of it is your reflection. A reflection that you see through your own mud-covered eyes. And we try to remove the mud by scrubbing the mirror. We do this by trying to fix everything in the world. We try to fix other people, things. We make laws, we have safety precautions, we punish, and we try to manipulate everything external to us to make it look better, to make it safe. We try to remove the mud from our eyes by manipulating the reflection in the mirror. It's a lot of work because it won't work. Because if we move a little, we're constantly moving and evolving. We see the mud again. This is why history repeats itself, why people get into the same kind of relationships over and over again and end up in the same situations over and over again. You have to wipe the mud out of your own eyes, see the perfection in who you are. In other words, a perfect reflection in the world around you. The mud is fear. Some people think that evidence comes before the feeling, but it's the other way around. Wonder, curiosity, and suspicion create the evidence. We think there's one linear reality outside of ourselves, but this is an illusion. Every version of reality both exists and doesn't. What I mean by this is that oftentimes when we refer to reality, we think of it as an objective thing, but it's subjective. Without experience, there is no existence, and experience is always subjective. There must be a subject. We wonder how something, why something, if something, and that something is made real by our wonder. In other words, it's made into an experience that you will have. And that experience will have both a past history and a future, all based on you right now. We'll wonder about something, be suspicious about something, and then we find the evidence and we say, I knew it. But of course you did. You made it. The key to having the reality that you want to experience is not to control what is around you or who is around you, but to be in control of yourself, to be in control of the things that you wonder about, that you question about, ask about, and are suspicious of. If you look for anything wrong in the world, you'll find something wrong in the world. If you look for what's right in the world, you'll find something right in the world. Mastering the self, the questions, the things you wonder about, is really about realizing that you are the master of what you thought was yourself. So if we are the creators of our own reality, then what about all the pain and the shittiness that we experience in the world? It's not that I never feel sad, angry, jealous, rejected, alienated, needy, or depressed. I notice when people do things intentionally or unintentionally, and things that happen in my life that cause me to feel certain pains. But as much as I want to rage or blame, as much as I want to blame it on another person, another situation, something outside of my control, I also know they didn't cause me to feel the way that I feel. That person or that situation. It's not something outside of me. So the way that my being, my mind has started to shift is that when these situations come up in my life, where I feel some type of pain, some type of suffering, instead of blaming the internal dialogue that takes place, it's why did I create this? Why did I want this? What am I feeling right now? What am I supposed to see right now? What am I trying to show myself right now? It's why did I do this in my reality? And if you ask and look and listen, you get answers. Usually it's like this oh shit moment because you realize it's your own ego. I begin to understand myself more, my ego more, and what I want to experience and what I was falsely believing that caused the experience in the first place. I don't blame anyone for me hurting over them. It's always me.